Welcome to the Coffee Clutch, a social gathering for good conversation over a cup of coffee. Grab your cup of coffee and let's get started. Now, during this month of May, I want to continue celebrating mothers and motherhood. I think it's a most exalted position and one that every young lady should give consideration to. I realize every young lady will not be a mother, and we're not all called to do that, but it is a vocation that's worth giving consideration to, and it is one that's been exalted throughout the ages. I began with just the term Mother Nature, and why not Father Nature or Sister Nature or Brother Nature or whatever, but it was Mother Nature. And that's old. That's as old as Plato. In fact, it's attributed to Plato, who was born in 428 or 27 before Christ, and died in 348 to 347 before Christ. So it's quite ancient. And nature and the personification of Mother Nature were widely popular in the Middle Ages as a concept seated between the properly divine and the human. It can be traced to ancient Greece and thus back to Plato. And I think it is really a very beautiful term because, of course, mothers bring forth new life. And in the spring, when we celebrate motherhood in particular, it seems quite apropos because we see the earth come back to life with all of its green and beauty, the flowers blooming and the buds on the trees. What a beautiful display Mother Nature gives us in the early spring as life comes forth from her. And I think it's a beautiful term, and one that I would think God would be very happy with, because of course it is the mother that brings forth life. Now there's another old saying that is the old saying, as American as motherhood and apple pie. I liked this one as well, wondering why did motherhood and apple pie become synonymous with being American? Well, it's attributed to soldiers during World War II when they were asked what they missed most. And they would commonly say they missed their mom and apple pie. That's a sweet tribute to mothers, I think. I'm sure those mothers were missing their sons as well. And the saying became synonymous with that which is good and true and noble, as American as motherhood and apple pie. A lovely tribute to mothers. Now this one, I could not find the origin to, and it was a face only a mother could love. Now, if someone says that to you, I understand they're not giving you a compliment. And yet, I like the idea that whoever first said it realized that a mother's love is unconditional, that she can see things that others may not be able to see about their children, that they don't necessarily just look at the physical beauty of their child, but they see the inward beauty of their child as well. I think it's kind of funny as I look back on life. Before I was actually a mother, I remember my mother saying to me, each mother gives birth to the most beautiful child on earth. And I remember asking her, well, what do you mean? And she said, oh, without a doubt, mothers look at their children and think that their children are by and large the most beautiful children they've ever seen. I thought that sounded silly. Of course, I wouldn't think that. But guess what? I did. All 8 of my children were by far the most beautiful children I had ever seen. And I love children. I had beautiful nieces and nephews, beautiful children in the neighborhood. But as I said, my children were by far and away the most beautiful children. Now, I knew that that wasn't really true. Cognitively, I knew that, but when I looked at my children, it was hard to see things any differently than that. And I remembered what my mom had told me. I tried to be objective, but I still thought they were the most beautiful. When I look back on our photographs, I realize, oh gosh, my kids look just the same as any other kids. You know, all of us, especially as young children, we go through lots of phases. Some phases, our heads are too big for our bodies, or our nose looks too big, or our eyes look too little, or whatever it is, because as we're growing, the body is trying to get everything pulled together. And it's oftentimes really not until we're in our late teens, early 20s that everything kind of falls into place, and we can oftentimes feel a little bit better about ourselves. Growing up can have a lot of awkward ages. But looking back, what I find amazing as a mother was that one of my daughters, had a hemangioma on her lip. And what a hemangioma is it's a strawberry, and lots of times we'll see them on someone's head, but their hair grows over it and you don't see it anymore, and in time they usually go away. But when they're on the lip, they're in a dependent position and gravity pulls on them, so they grow. They're red, a deep purpley red, and it grew to bigger than a grape. And it was ugly. And I knew that cognitively. It couldn't be attractive. And yet, if I was honest, I thought it was adorable. She just was adorable to me. And I was amazed by that. And in that moment, when I looked at my daughter and knew we have to have surgery to remove that, and something kind of tugged at my heartstrings, thinking, well, that's part of who she is. I don't really want to change who she is because I think she's perfect. But I knew that in time it would be difficult for her to have this growth on her lip. It would be repugnant to other people. It would be difficult for her to even eat, and to speak would be difficult. So I knew it was in her best interest to have that removed. And it was in that moment when having surgery seemed kind of sad to me that I realized nobody else is going to love my child or see my child the way I do. And I liked that idea. I really did, because it said to me that there was something very special and natural in the bond between a mother and a child. Something very beautiful, something very valuable, something worth celebrating every May. So to all you mothers out there, enjoy your Mother Day celebrations. Enjoy your children. They are truly a blessing. Enjoy Sunday. Give each other a hug. I know some of you won't do that because of COVID. I'm going to hug my children and take my chances. I think it's worth it. But that's another story. Enjoy your cup of coffee and come back and visit. Push that like button, and I hope you share.